happened? Good morning and welcome to our Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. You'll notice that the view is a little bit wonky this morning. There's a good reason for that, but it will show up a little better shortly. I want to welcome everyone and say that this morning we are going to be looking at how to develop a website or a course for your website. So we have some presentations and so forth. And so it's going to take us a bit of time. So this morning I will do the introductions so that we can compress the time that we use. So first of all, I have David Flannery from Illinois, who creates affordable websites for small business. Good morning, David. And Fred, you got in just in under the wire. So we have Fred Jones from British Columbia. He facilitates leadership and community building for youth. And we have, I'm scrolling down, Nathan Siegel, and he is in Mexico, and he works as a copywriter focusing on salesmanship in print. And we have Vivek Rao from the UK. He simplifies life and business by unifying different technologies and developing software. And myself, Fuglsang, I'm here in British Columbia as well, and I coach retirees who want to create an online business. So thank you very much for everyone who arrived, and now you're going to see something that looks entirely different. Who just came in? Oops. Now I'm looking at Alana there. So that came in just as I was changing my view here. And Alana is in Ireland. I don't see her yet, but there she is. And she helps people manage their websites. So I am now in the process of opening up my website so that we can start our program. So there we are, and I'm going to do Alt-8. So hopefully, no, you can't, I bet you can't see it, can you? I need to share screen in order to do that. There, share screen. So it's a tricky thing to be able to show everybody everything. So this morning we're going to talk about a project that Vivek and I have been working on for several months now, and it all came about as a result of a major plugin that I couldn't get it to work, and so we decided we would try and see if we could develop something different. So I'm showing you the front page of my website right now so that I can show you what it looks like on the outside, what you see when you come to my website in terms of the courses that we created. We created 3 courses. Now I'm going to just go to that page so that you can and of course we're going to have a little bit of a delay here. So this is the page which I built in Elementor, by the way. So you can see that there are 3 courses here listed. The first, how to find my passion was the first one we did. And then the financial management was the second one we did. And then we did the business mastery plan third. And you can see that I have a video there that kind of speaks to why you would want to create a business plan. So I will click on the course description here, and of course it will take a few minutes to load. So here is the landing page that was created for this particular page or course. And the reason I did a special landing page was because it's a paid one. So, and I believe that this page was also created in Elementor. So you can see that there's a PayPal button and a Stripe button. But it is a landing page that says what it is and why you know, and it talks about why you would want to do it. So I wanted everyone to see what that looks like before we move into a presentation, a Google Slides presentation. So just give me a minute to get back to where I should be. I will go back to there and go back to there. There. So I think we're in the right place. Sharing screens and so forth requires a bit of maneuvering around when you're managing the inside of Zoom, so and as well as OBS. So, but I think we're okay now. So Vivek, if you want to.
I wonder whether there are any questions. I thought Elena had raised her hand.
If there was a comment or questions before we start the presentation. Anything there?
Elena?
No, I was just going to ask about the Elementor. That's a plugin for Generate
WordPress.
Press, if I recall.
It's a plugin for anything.
It's a plugin for WordPress.
Yeah,
it's a WordPress
separate.
plugin, not specific to Generate Press.
Yeah, it's totally separate, and it's really great. I just used it to build a mobile website for a client.
Yeah.
And I was amazed by how much I could do with it. I almost completely duplicated the site.
Yeah.
That I had to replace. It was actually, I did better with Elementor and the look and feel than we had on the original site.
Yeah.
It was that good.
Yeah.
Even to the point of doing icons on the screen, the whole thing, it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Really good software.
But just know that when Gutenberg 2 comes along, you'll be able to do most of those things using Gutenberg.
So you don't really need Elementor, that is what you're saying?
Well, there's a bit of controversy about that. Some people are saying you won't need it. Others are saying, well, there will be other reasons why you might want to still use Elementor.
I would bet that some of those reasons have to do with building things like sales pages and landing pages and so on.
I don't know.
I don't know for sure.
But you know, the second stage of Gutenberg is going to be very similar. Yeah. The thing about Elementor, and I don't know enough about Gutenberg to say, but the neat thing about Elementor is you can create templates to use for other things, and they can be used over and over. So
the templates are hugely important, especially if you're in the marketing world.
Yeah.
Mind you, they're important anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so shall I?
There's Jay just coming in. Good morning, Jay. We're just about to begin our presentation. So the presentation is called How to Create Courses on Your Website. Keeping it simple and affordable. And this is a combined presentation by myself and Vivek. It made sense for us to create it together. As you will see as we go through the presentation, you'll see my branding up to a certain point, and then you will see Vivek's branding after that, and there's a kind of a good reason for that. So we're presenting this together because we did the work together. So yeah, here is the reason we thought it was important to create a course on our own website. So first of all, it keeps visitors on our own real estate so that they constantly return to our website. It automates the progress through the client's progress through the course. It keeps track of the participants' progress and automates the tracking of their progress. It allows us to correct any errors that might have been caused by computer systems. For example, if maybe what happens sometimes, Google Mail puts an email in the wrong place, and you might think that you haven't got it anymore, and then you would get a notification from the participant, I didn't get the next module. There's a number of things that can happen, and so what we have here allows us to sort of correct errors, etc. Another reason we are doing it this way is because it's using programs that we already know, and that is the Google programs. And therefore keeping the cost down and making the participant feel the engagement, and that has to do with the tracking their progress. And if we can see that something has happened or the person is struggling with something, it allows us to go back and help engage with them and help them move along. So those are our whys. Do you want to move on? Okay. So this was, we have to give a shout out to Jay because I used Bubble.us or Bubble.io to create these mind maps. So this is how it happens. The student completes a module, answers the module completion questions, submits the form, the response gets recorded in a spreadsheet, and then the student receives an email with the module data that he or she just completed, plus a link to the next module. And the course provider also receives an email with the student response to the module. So it allows the provider to look through and see if there's something that you might want to address. And so that allows for some follow-up. So both the email and the fact that you have that spreadsheet both help you manage the progress, the student's progress. It's easier probably in the initial times when maybe you don't have that many sign-ups to just follow the emails, but then as time goes on you might need to sort of go in and review everything that has come in on a spreadsheet. And as I think about it, reviewing the responses to a module on a spreadsheet might give the provider an indicator that maybe there's an enhancement needs to happen to this particular module to make it work better for the student or whatever. So it's so there you can see exactly what happens and how it happens. Okay, Vivek. So this is just a visual. I felt like we needed to have a few visuals at the beginning here, and this was the first landing page that I did initially before I did the Elementor page, and yeah, I think I've already explained the fact that this was a combined effort. We used Vivek's extensive knowledge of coding and of Google, and I did most of the grunt work. So we wanted to kind of just let you know that before you start doing anything electronic, there are a number of things that need to be done. So the first so I made this list here so you could see that there are a number of things that need to be done before you ever sit down to do the electronic part. So you would write your course content, and certainly keep it, organize it in separate modules, and you would decide on the title, and that process might be, you know what it's about, but you may need to do some keyword searching and so forth to see whether, what would be the right title. Then you would also want to organize and be sure that you know what questions you want to pose at the end of each module. And perhaps do some research and find some images that you would want to use, and decide whether you want to use some videos, and how you might, if you decided to use them, you might want to create those before you start the actual putting together of the course. And then perhaps you might want to create a web page layout template for the course, and we were talking about that. You may be using Elementor or something along that line to create a nice looking template. So that's the process that you need to go through before you even begin. So we had. We decided that each module needs to go into a Google Doc. So that would be the first step. And so we said that we would show you examples of what each one of these look like. Now, as you can see here, it's only a partial page, and we struggled with keeping it large enough for you to be able to read it, but also to be able to keep it small enough to fit on a, on a slide. So this is an example of the Google Doc. So you would create one Google Doc per module. And in that Google Doc, you would include any pictures that you might have. Now, the advantage to that is you can go into Google Doc without ever going onto your website, and make adjustments, add a picture, change a text or whatever. So that was sort of an advantage, I thought. So this is the first step. Putting each module into a Google Doc. Then with the questions that you have created, you create a Google form for each of the questions that you do for each module. So in this case, I have module 1 completion, and you can see that there are a number of questions in there. And one of the things that I came to realize through our process was that it was important to make sure that the last question on every form was, what questions do you have? Do you understand this? But some of the other questions have to do with the reaction or the responses to the content itself. So you can combine both, you know. Do you have questions? If you have questions, put them here. But the answers to the questions help the course provider track the participants' progress through the course. So yes, and then of course you're going to create a web page for each module. And on each one of those web pages, you would have the embed code from the Google Doc and the embed code from the Google Form. And then as you're putting those into a web page, sometimes you need to make a few adjustments to the frame sizes. So what I'm showing here is the text, the HTML text page. This is what you do is you can see there's two iframes there, one for the doc and one for the form. And so that was it was just sort of a copy paste thing. And then so you don't need to worry about entering pictures or featured images or any of those things. It's all done. It's all been done within the Google Doc. So on the outside, this is what the module looks like. So you can see that the pictures are in there and the formatting is all there. So it's all the pictures and content and formatting and all of that is inside the Google Doc. So then, once you've got those three aspects done, then there's the process of putting together the pieces that will make the automation happen. So you can see I've listed off the stages or the steps that you need to do. You open the module form. Let's say we're working on module 1, so we would open module 1 form. And we would go to the resources tab and click on
responses.
Sorry, thank you. Responses tab. Then we would click on the sheets. We're going to show you visuals of this, but I just wanted to show that there is a sequence that you can follow. So then you go to the tools menu and you select the script editor, and then you paste the special coding that you get from Vivek. So this is what you see. This is what I see when I opened the module 1 form. Okay, I have a header in there that doesn't necessarily show up on the website. It just happens that that's the way I have forums done. So so you can see down the right hand side there are all the little icons that allow you to add a new section and manage all the questions. You can add a new section, a new question, and there's a variety of different ways that you can ask those questions. So you can see up above we're in the questions tab. So I couldn't believe how easy it was to create a form using this format. So that is step 1. So this is this is step 1. Open the form, and then this is step 2. You go to the responses tab. Now you can see down below where we've been testing Who you get to see who has responded. You get to see them here, and then the next step is to click on the Sheets icon, so you can see the little green icon in the corner. So when you click on that, now you're going to see what the next, what it looks like, what opens after you do that. So here you can see that when you clicked on that, it opens the spreadsheet, and there's all your questions on row 1. And then the answers that you get are listed that the participant has filled in the form, and the answers that they filled in show up in this spreadsheet. So then you have to click on that tools, and you find the script editor. Yeah. So the script editor is where the coding goes. So the next slide will show you what it looks like. And now you see that we are into Vivek's branding. So this is where I got the help from Vivek. The coding gets pasted right where that circle is, and this is a partial view of what it looks like after the coding goes in. So then most of the coding gets you copy most of the coding into the back of each module form and then you make a few selected very simple adjustments according to which module it is, because this form takes the person. What happens is it shows that the person gets the link to the next module, right? So there's a few very simple changes that have to be put into the back end, or this back end of each module. Anything you want to add, Vivek?
Yeah, it's also because each module has its own questions which are different from the questions in the other modules. So this actually handles that. The code here would handle the different questions, and so it doesn't handle it as such not in an intelligent way, but in a way that the participant filled the answer, and so that gets recorded, and that we are using that to send a response back to them as well as to the course provider. So depending on the question, the answer is different. So the email that goes out will actually correspond to both of them for each module. So that is the change that we'll have to do for each module. Otherwise, the code is exactly same.
Mm-hmm. Right on. So then there's some other things that allow you to manage things from the back end, and this was the part that got developed as we were working on the paid version, as opposed the first two were free versions, and this time we had a few things that had to be added, and what you're looking at now is another spreadsheet that is called the paid client list. And so this spreadsheet will give you the customer ID, which yes, in this sense, when the client goes to PayPal or Stripe, pays I guess we're going to show that in the next slide, aren't we? Come to
Yeah.
think of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we're going to show another progression. So here it is. So the visitor, the mind map that's in yellow shows what happens for the visitor or the participant. They come to the landing page, they go to PayPal, they click the PayPal button, they go to PayPal and go through the process, and then they get taken back to a registration form on the website to complete. And then the registration form asks for their name and their email address, etc. And so then that participant receives an email containing their registration code and a link to Module 1. And then as time goes on, I think we showed earlier what happens at the end of each module. So the lower mind map shows what happens in relation to the course provider. So the person has been through the payment process, whichever one it is. They get taken to the registration form to complete, and that information gets sent and added to that paid client list that we showed in the last slide. And then the visitor gets a registration code and a link to Module 1 by email, and the course provider receives a notification email. So they get to know somebody just registered. Here's this person's name and all their information. So that's it's a little bit of the back end understanding. So this paid client data spreadsheet, we showed the client list earlier, and this one under the settings tab shows all the pages that get sent out as a result of for this particular module. Yeah.
Yeah, we have grayed out this part here so that whoever watches this YouTube later doesn't get to use the course without paying
Right.
the fee.
Yeah.
So to stop that from happening, we are blocking it.
Yeah. And then here's another piece that Vivek created. You can see their little buttons on the side. So this was created to help the course provider manage any of the problems that might have arisen. So you would be able to go in there and make changes if there was a problem somewhere along the way. Anything else you want to say about that, Vivek?
This is more of a I mean, this just shows how simple it is for the course provider to manage the whole thing.
Right.
Once the course is up and running. So.
Right on. So now the last one is important for you to know that Vivek provides the code, but he also provides help. He's a very patient teacher, I have to tell you, having experienced it. And I have to say that throughout this process, I can't emphasize enough what I learned by putting this together. I might also say, as we were putting this presentation together, the back end of doing Google Slides, I learned a whole lot about it that I didn't know before. And just imagine we were able to bring in 2 different sets of branding and combine them into one presentation. So I do encourage anyone who has got this in mind to get a hold of Vivek as well, because he's really good at hand holding. So that is the end of the presentation. Gee, we whistled through that fairly quickly, didn't we? Didn't we? So now, before I open things up for questions, I just want to acknowledge that Kathy Pop is in the audience out in YouTube. Good to see you again, Kathy. And Javita is out there as well. So nice. And what was it? Kathy says plus it's yours, and you have control, unlike when you use somebody else's platform. You are absolutely right. That was it. So now, for our participants, live participants, any questions or any comments or observations?
I just think it's pretty cool. You put that all together. It's quite elaborate.
Well, but you know, Jay, it's and once you start working with it, it's sort of, it's not as complicated as it might seem. It's really quite. I mean, to create a Google form is it's a piece of cake. It's just really easy to do, just as creating a Google Doc.
Yeah, it's it's great to see a bootstrap method, where you don't have to invest in a plugin or whatnot. So that's kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
How are you getting with marketing now? What's your plans now that you've got these courses? Where are you going with the marketing?
Where am I going with the marketing? I'm working at it. So,
well, what are your thoughts? Who are the target market and so on for this? It's a lot of work.
Yeah. What Jay and I have been doing is we looked to see where where and if I was getting any traffic to the website, and we realized that traffic I was getting was either coming directly to the address, and that probably has to do more with the Success Circle videos that I have in there, but the rest was coming from Pinterest. So I've been posting things over on Pinterest and putting in little videos, and I've been spending a lot of time in Pinterest. So that's.
So how long have you started that sort of marketing in Pinterest?
It's about a week or two ago. Yeah.
Have you had any takers yet on that?
No takers, but a few. We're noticing a bit more traffic, so it's a gradual process, I guess.
Yeah, well, Pinterest sounds. I haven't had much experience with marketing in different platforms, but the one fellow I know, again, he was selling training courses, and Pinterest worked out, and his area was a very esoteric area. Mm-hmm. And yet he was excited about what he was able to do in Pinterest to get interest on his courses. So it sounds, just on the surface to me, sounds like you've got one place to concentrate on and just see how Pinterest comes. Yeah. So that's good.
Well, the neat thing about Pinterest is whenever you post something, you post a link back to your website. And a lot of the other social networks don't necessarily allow you to do that in quite the direct way. So, yeah. So I've created a few little videos. I've played around with in video. I've created 2 or 3 little videos promoting the course to put over there. I also played around with creating a video using Canva. They're sort of equally easy to use. in video probably has a lot more templates. But so, and then I've also been posting links to this success circle over there as well. Yeah. So I don't know whether anybody has any other great ideas for getting more traffic to the website, but. So David was saying to us earlier, before we, pardon me, came online, he said, I think you should create a course on how to create a course. So we might just do that.
Well, that comes to mind. I must agree. What you've done and how you've managed it, there will be people who want to do that and say, hey, I need some help. So yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it would be,
very true.
I think it would be a really good way to get people building and using this method. I have a question, probably more to Jay than anybody else. When you embed a Google Doc, like they're doing, does the text get read by Google, or is that hidden from them?
It's a good question, and what happens is it does get read by Google. It does get rendered by Google.
Okay.
So because it's the output is in HTML. So if you go view code, it would then see the code, right? And you can actually test that in Search Console.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate that answer. I just wanted to know, because it's another way to import stuff. I don't know what would be the drawbacks of putting it, like making your I use Google Docs all the time for blog posts and collaboration, and then I copy and paste that into my website. If I embedded it, would there be any difference in it?
Well, I mean, personally, I wouldn't do it. Like, that's just my own thing. Just because I just think that it's better to have it embedded into the actual like WordPress website versus having everything embedded in. It's like embedding YouTube videos. There's a benefit there, but there's a limited benefit to it.
Correct.
So, yeah.
I mean, the main benefit is if you made your video is that you've got a link back from YouTube to you. If you're borrowing someone else's video, you get very
The other thing is, and I'm not sure if this is because there are some Google Docs that would be considered published on the internet, like indexable. So that could then run the risk of a duplicate content, not so much of a penalty, but a risk of one ranking over the other.
Well, and the other thing that we neglected to mention is that, especially in the paid course, we make that non-follow, non-listed, etc.
Yeah, so I think for content that's delivered to your customers, totally fine if you want to do that. But
so I guess what you guys are saying is that you probably wouldn't use embed for an average blog post.
No, I'm a lazy man, so I'm trying to find the easiest way to do it. I'm going to do it once in Google Docs and then move it over and do it a second time. Now I'm pasting, so I'm not typing it, but
yeah. So
what's nice is that your pictures come with it. You can embed, you can put your pictures in the Google Doc, and then they come with it. Whereas right now I have to put the doc in the website and then put my pictures on the website. So.
And I guess what comes to my mind, it's pictures that slow your site down, isn't it? So I wonder if by putting your pictures in a Google Doc, and if that has any impact on the speed.
No,
No?
it's the same
It's
thing.
one or the other? Okay.
If the image file size is 200 MB, then it is a 200 MB file.
Whether
That's it.
whichever place it is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you want to show the image as a of a specific pixel size, then it's better you reduce the actual image to that size and have that image show up on your
Okay.
website rather than show the whole image and scale it in WordPress. Don't never scale the image in WordPress.
All right. Right. Okay. Any other questions or comments? We are over as usual. I knew it was going to take us a while this morning. So, any parting comments before we sort of close the recording down? Alana.
Oh, you muted.
I thought it was a great presentation. I just think there's a lot of information to take in there. So I think creating a course on how to create a course might be useful.
Well, it probably wouldn't be all that difficult to do because we've got all the screenshots and everything already. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I recognize that you almost need to know something about all of those pieces in order for the convenience of it before that would make any sense to you. Yeah, I get it. All right. So, Fred, do you want a parting comment? Oh no, David, you
Before
were.
that, yeah. Javita was asking, Jay, you've created many training on Affiliate Coach. May we know the process of creating training that you use? Basically, I'd say.
Not this. it's quite elaborate as well, but I use a paid system called Kajabi, and so that basically it's a all-in-one tool that provides everything for you. So yeah, so it's and that's just the I got in earlier with the system Kajabi, so I got a really good deal on it, and it's great. I love the function of it.
Is it on your website or is it cloud-based?
It's cloud-based, so but it is run under my domain, so it's no different than say like a hosted WordPress site, but it's on a Kajabi server. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Right on. So, Fred, do you want the last word before we close?
Yeah, I always appreciate being asked, so thank you for asking. I just want to sort of reinforce what Alana said, is the fact that you put a lot of work into this presentation. You know, the fact that you created all the slides, and this was not just something you whipped up in a few minutes. This was a lot of thought, the presentation, and I'm going to value it because I know I can go back to your website when I want to create a course, because I'm thinking there's a course in my future. And again, it may only be one or two courses. So I don't want to go and invest in a lot of platforms. It's not something I'm going to be doing a lot of, but there are times when I might want to. So I think this presentation is excellent to introduce us to the concept of being able to maybe just do a one-off or two-off, in my case, is what I think, without having to invest in a lot of technology, because that technology is readily available and you don't have to pay much for it, if anything, for it. So I thought it was well done, extremely well done. And I liked Vivek's picture at the end on his slide. I don't know if you were younger or what, you seem to have more hair then, but I just found it was actually a very pleasant picture. I liked that photo. It was a very picture that you'd say, hey, this is a nice guy. I could work with him. So well done.
That was the intent. That was the...
No, it is very well done.
And you have to know it was my choice. I had that in my system from way back when,
Well, it was all well done. I do have some
He
other
would
comments.
never. He would pull some
Yes.
thing he's been using
Yes.
forever.
So congratulations to both of you for putting together what you did. So
Thank you.
I thought you did
Thank
a wonderful job, and it's a good reference for
Yeah.
anyone else who's interested. At least they know
Oh,
to
that's
go and say,
fine.
okay, this is something I want to know more about, and hopefully reach out to either of you or both of you. So well done.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do
we weren't.
you ever envision? Sorry, just a quick question. Do you ever envision selling this application, if you will, as a product, or even maybe a service? Do you ever envision selling that?
as a
Yes.
service.
Like basically this yeah, well, basically selling the script, right, and the instructions on how to set it up. So it could almost be a course in itself that comes with the script and the, or sell it as a software or an app that comes with instructions, right? Either way.
Thank you for saying that, Jay. I've been trying to talk Vivek into thinking about it from that perspective for ages.
Hey, even Mother Teresa took a paycheck once in a while, so.
Yeah.
You should have heard me earlier, Jay. I was saying they need to make all this money so then they can do all this good with it. They could, feed the poor, get the plastic out of the ocean, whatever.
Right. Anyway, so I think it's time to for us to say goodbye for this morning. And I do want to remind everyone it's important to do what you love with passion. And to let you know that next week we will talk about how to build a course. Nope, that's not it. Tips on keyword searching without a tool. And David is going to lead that. So, thank you all for joining, both people on the outside and those of you inside. So thank you so much. And I shall stop and stream.